Hey guys, welcome to another tutorial. As you might or might not know, I'm a big fan of music theory and I study it a lot, and it has helped me a lot for my own music. So I thought this week let's do a little bit of that. And it's not really music theory, but I'm gonna show you how I would transcribe a melody from a song, and that way you know how the melody works and you can um, make something similar yourself because you know the ingredients that go into it, and if you like some of the ingredients you can take that out and use that in your own tracks. So here's my example song. It's by Emancipator. It's called Bury Them Bones. I'll play it. And here comes the melody that I want to transcribe. Okay, so it's that line that is, what is that instrument? I don't know, some sort of wind instrument. So I want to loop that so I can hear it a little bit better and maybe even slow it down. Set 1.1 here, and then we choose the tempo, which is 92 in this case, and then we say warp from here straight. And now I think we should have a fairly good loop. Okay, that's good enough, so now we can slow it down if we want to. And make sure that when we slow it down we choose the beats mode, because if we're gonna use the re-pitch mode, we get a different melody. Well, it's not a different melody, but it's starting on a different key. So choose any of the modes except re-pitch. So I'm gonna choose beats. And then we're gonna very slowly play it. It's okay if you play like a 5-year-old. That's exactly what happens when you're transcribing. So first note, we can search that on the piano. So what I'm doing is I'm listening to the notes and then searching on my piano where that is. And once you know a little bit of music theory, it gets a lot easier because you can recognize the distance between notes. So, for example, this first, that's a fifth. And once you recognize those distances a little bit, you get a little bit faster at it. But you don't need to know that. You can still learn it just by hearing it and trying different keys and trial and error. And it's always a bit difficult in the beginning. But if you choose an easy melody, more of a simple melody, start with Happy Birthday, for example. And just do like that. Just like that, and just play like you just got your piano for a week, or maybe you do, but then it's perfect. Play like that, and that way you go through different very simple melodies, such as this. This one's fairly simple, but you can start out even simpler, and then play it very slowly and try to find the notes that they are playing. So then we get this, which is, it sounds like a lot, but it's actually just 3 different notes. And then it's the exact same thing, but then higher. And once you've done that for the whole song, you'll get something like this, which is my MIDI file. Okay, so it's not pretty, but it works. And with a MIDI file, or you can just, if you read sheet music, you can just write the notes. But now we can see what's happening a little bit better with the melody. So for example, we see that there's 2 phrases that are exactly the same, but they are a fourth apart, which is that distance. So it's from D to an G in this case, and if you were in C, it would be C to F, which is a major fourth, just a normal fourth. You don't need to know that, but it's great to be able to recognize those, because now you can play them on every place on the piano. I can start on a different key, like this one. And I can find the fourth again. It's the same as this. So we see that, and we see that he uses a 3 in here and a 5, and all these numbers, they point to scale degrees. If you have a scale, every note has a different number, and instead of just saying the notes like a D and a A, we could also say a number 1 and number 5, which means that this is the 1 in the scale of D, and this is the 5th key in the scale of D. And if you recognize these in numbers and not in the specific notes, now you can play them in any scale, because you can also start on G and say number 1 of G and number 5 of G, and that will be the same, just the same melody, except that you've transposed it a little bit higher. Anyway, this is the melody, and we can see that the second part is just the same, but then a fourth higher, and then he ends. We can also see that this note where he ends, it's the same one as the one he's going back and forth to. So he's doing D, A, D, and then he ends on A again, and then going back to D. That is because this transition from the 5th of key to the 1st of a key is a very strong transition. It sounds like the key should go there, and all these notes have different relationships with each other, and the 5th is one that really wants to go back to the 1st. You can hear that when I play a 5th. And then a D, that sounds like it's coming home. And if I do that same in C, for example, I will play a G, and that sounds a lot better than, for example, you can hear that they sort of belong there. They belong with each other. And that's how most things work in melodies, and that's how these things are constructed. It's not completely random. But I don't want to give you all this information. I think I'm already talking way too much. But the idea is that just take some songs that you like, and choose a simple melody and try to transcribe it like this, and then see what's going on, and then just look at the distances between notes, and then try to recreate that with a different melody, with a different rhythm, but with the same distances. I think you'll be able to see or to hear what I'm talking about. That the this distance is very important, and it's the flavor of the melody. And it doesn't matter which key you start on. If you just closely look to that, I think you're gonna have some great results and some really cool melodies. So thanks, and I see you next week. Good luck with this. If you have any questions, just let me know.